Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Best of the AFC West Podcast. It is Tuesday, November 15th, 2016, and the season is just flying by. And today we're going to recap Week 10, preview Week 11, and of course go over some news as well. I am your host, Chiefs fan Prather Siverthorn, and with me, as always, we've got Broncos fan Chris Crouse.
Go Broncos!
Raiders fan Tyler Stevens.
Raiders!
And Chargers fan Sumanth Gollapudi.
I don't have much to cheer about. Is that okay?
Yeah, that is okay. Well, we're just gonna roll right into that with a new edition of the Chargers injury report. Where you've got a pretty significant injury to a very large human being.
Yes, we do. The biggest injury, I think, to date for us this year in terms of size and almost impact to the game, nose tackle Brandon Mebane, the free agent acquisition, 10-year vet out of Seattle, out for the remainder of the season with a torn bicep, as we learned from Coach McCoy in his press conference on Monday. Brandon Mebane, if I can almost understand how great he is to how, essential he was to our game plan. He was basically the complete anchor to our run defense, was the majority of our run defense, and is why we've been so good in the run defense all season, was because we've had a true nose tackle like him clogging up, running lanes and basically just wreaking havoc in the interior line, and now he's out for the season with a torn bicep. So we have clearly a big void to fill in that middle of the thing. He's also a veteran presence in the locker room. He's, as I said, he's a 10-year vet, has been to a Super Bowl, has won a Super Bowl before. His role will be filled by nose tackle Damian Square, who initially came off of a 4-game suspension early in the season, has performed pretty well in the preseason in the past, so he's not Brandon Mebane by any stretch, but he's not a bad player, so let's see how that works. I'm not terribly excited because Mebane is the guy, and Damian Square has never been that guy, so we're going to have to see how that goes. And in other injury news, Brandon Flowers, cornerback for the Chargers, suffered yet another concussion, his second of the season in the Miami game. It occurred from a block in the back penalty that wasn't called. Jarvis Landry basically was trying to defend Ryan Tannehill when he made a long run for a first down, and basically Jarvis Landry pushed Brandon Flowers in the back right into where Brandon's head went right into the thigh of Ryan Tannehill. It did not look pretty, and Brandon was down on the field for a while, like they were holding his neck. So it could have been much worse than just a concussion, but if nothing else, we should have at least gotten the penalty. I don't know. I'm just being salty about the game. So there's that. And then on other news, Joe Barksdale had an undisclosed injury, or at least an injury that I'm not aware of, happened during the first quarter. He played through the injury until the fourth quarter, only left briefly, and during his brief absences in both the first and fourth quarters, he was replaced by right tackle Chris Hairston. That's the injury news that we've got, and I've got a little bit of transaction news that happened earlier today. For the Chargers, center guard hybrid Chris Watt, former third-round pick out of Notre Dame, was waived today. He was previously on the PUP list and has been there for the entire season so far. He was waived because he failed his physical, and this is actually one of the few drafting failures we can call of Tom Telesco and the front office, mainly because he came in as a pure guard out of Notre Dame and as a third-round pick as well, slotting to be a future starter at the line. He never started much at guard. He tried to play center and just did not do well in that, and has been an injury liability for the last 2 years. So it's not terribly surprising that he was waived, but it does highlight that we haven't hit on every draft pick so far, I think, in the Tom Telesco era. As great as our draft picks this year have been, it hasn't always been that way. In other minor transaction news, Tyreek Burwell, reserve tackle, has been now re-signed to the active roster. Deion King, a depth linebacker who we took because we had injuries to our starting inside linebackers, has been waived. And James Burgess, another linebacker, has been waived from the practice squad. That is all I have coming out of San Diego.
Now, on to the news that actually matters.
Oh.
It would be a low blow, but I'm used to it by now. As you can all tell, I'm very defeated.
As you should be. Tyler, what do you got going out of Oakland?
All right. So this week on Thursday, we have the last official day of Alden Smith's one-year ban and his first eligible day for reinstatement. That means as early as Thursday, we can hear if Roger Goodell will allow Alden in the league again. This could be a key cog in the front seven of this defense as the playoff push leans on. So speaking of front seven, Jack Del Rio is normally pretty quiet when it comes to injuries and player status, but up until now, Tuesday the 15th of November, we have not been updated on the status of Mario Edwards Jr. In this case, no news is pretty much bad news. It probably means his recovery is taking longer than the originally expected 6 to 8 weeks, since the injury has, in fact, lasted since week 1 of the preseason. Hopefully, the Raiders are just being their secretive selves and keeping his status on the low, but it's not looking pretty good for an important defensive player who cannot seem to see the field. That's all.
Chris, what do you have out of Denver?
All I've got is that Aqib Talib was back at practice today, and he hopes to be back for the game against the Chiefs in 2 weeks. So I think that's going to be interesting since we've been without him for a while, and Alex Smith, struggles against secondaries, anything like ours.
I'm pretty sure every quarterback struggles against secondaries, anything like yours.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, apparently not Drew Brees.
He's not a quarterback. He's a god.
He's a robot.
I believe it.
Well, a little news out of Kansas City. Justin Houston has been practicing. Did not play this week against the Panthers. His status for the Bucs is up in the air, but I expect him to be back for the Broncos game in 2 weeks, where he'll go hopefully against double agent Donald Stevenson.
Oh God. Let's not talk about him.
Oh no, he'll talk about him.
I'll talk about him later.
Oh,
I'll talk about him.
Save it for next week, boys.
All right.
Anyway.
Well, with that, let's get into the game reviews from Week 10. First off, the Chiefs somehow, some way, defeated the Panthers 20-17, and this is the second straight week that the Chiefs have been completely dominated in pretty much every stat category except for turnovers. This wasn't quite as terrible as the game last week against the Jaguars, but still the Panthers outgained us 341 yards to 256. And the time of possession was really lopsided, 35 minutes to a little under 24, or a little under 25 minutes for us. And first downs was 22-18. So the Chiefs really had some struggles moving the ball, and their defense did give up a lot of yards, but we made the plays when it counted. The offense, it was bad. I said last week that Nick Foles ended any sort of QB controversy that was possible. Well, Alex Smith brought it right back into into a possibility. I think anybody calling for Nick Foles right now is jumping the gun. But Smith did look pretty rusty. We came out of the gates early. It was pretty obvious that Carolina's big weakness on defense was the deep ball. So we challenged him deep early. Alex Smith threw an early pick where Tyreek Hill beat the corner he had 5 or 6 steps on him, but Smith didn't see the safety over the top and just he waited too long to throw the pass, and the safety had enough time to cover all the way across the field and make the play. It seemed like that really shook both Smith and Reed's confidence in the deep ball, so they kept everything short after that, and it didn't work. Smith, he ended up going 25 for 38 for 178 yards and 1 interception and no touchdowns, and he only completed 2 passes that went further than 10 yards in the air, which is crazy, considering that is the biggest weakness of the Panthers defense, and that's what you want to attack. And he wasn't getting a lot of help from his receivers. Albert Wilson dropped a nice deep pass, one of the few accurate deep passes that Smith had, and ended up getting dropped anyway. So, you can't blame it all on Smith. He didn't have a whole lot of help out there, but he wasn't going through his progressions, He missed. He didn't see Travis Kelce wide open in the end zone on one play, and then on another play he missed a wide open Chris Conley, just overthrew him. And there was another play where he had Spencer Ware completely all by himself in the flat, but he didn't see him because he didn't go through his progressions. And he's not using his legs to pick up key first downs like he was last year either. So he's taken a clear step down from last season. So I think this is something to keep an eye on as we get closer to December and January. If we really are going to be making a good playoff run, Smith's going to have to turn it around. So
please tell me more about how Alex struggles to throw the ball.
That's what we get every week out of him, almost.
Pretty much. He's not all that. We're gonna play a bad Bucs defense this weekend, and our subreddit is gonna throw a parade about how good Alex Smith is, and then he's just gonna turn around and struggle against Denver. You heard it here first.
To play us after the bye.
You heard it here first.
In prime time, no less.
But the play calling is just a mess, though. We had 42 called passing plays versus 16 designed running plays, which were built to be a run-first team. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think we're the lowest. I think we have the lowest percentage on runs on 1st and 10. So I mean, when you have Alex Smith throwing for 42 times a game, that's not how this team's built to win. So, and also, if you want to see the worst attempt at a 2-minute offense, watch our offense. We get the ball back down 3 with a little under 2 minutes left. Or, no, not down 3. It's tied. We have a chance to win the game, and it is the most pathetic thing I have ever seen. We end up punting the ball, and thankfully, Kelvin Benjamin just gives the ball to Marcus Peters on a strip in field goal range, and Cairo Santos puts the game away. So, pretty ridiculous way to end the game. Marcus Peters not only has 5 interceptions, he's also leading the league in fumble recoveries. He has 3, so he's always around the ball. He got burned a couple times this game, but definitely made up for it in that last play. And, yeah, I have no idea how we won.
Jeez. I will say this quickly about just, your 2-minute offense. If you've ever listened to an older Eagles fan about Andy Reid, they will tell you that 2-minute offenses were not the Eagles' thing back then. Andy Reid's not too great with 2-minute offenses.
No, we call it a bubble screen, and it wasn't even like an outside bubble screen.
What?
It was like he was pretty far from being out of bounds when he caught the ball. It's like, what do you have to gain there? You're going to gain maybe 5 yards. He's going to get tackled in bounds. It was stupid. It was stupid.
It's designed to trick them.
Yeah.
No one would see it coming. That's for sure.
Strong quotations in the air.
But yeah, so the Chiefs move on to 7-2, despite trying their hardest to lose this game. So let's talk about another crazy ending. Broncos 25, Saints 23. Chris, what the hell happened?
Oh God, I don't really know. The ending was kind of crazy. One thing I do know, I'll start with the cons because we already talked about the Donald, the second most hated Donald in Colorado right now.
Jeez.
Donald Stevenson.
I don't know if he's worth. I don't know if that's fair. Is that fair?
Well, he might be the most hated.
I think he's number 1.
Yeah. Which is pretty impressive for the blue Colorado. But anyway, if you looked at Pro Football Focus's top 10 worst players from the week, Donald Stevenson ranked number 3, our right tackle. And after we took him out, I think he was in for like 50 some odd plays. I don't know how many exactly. We put in Tyson Brilo, who ranks number 9 on that list.
It's an improvement.
Yeah, that's improvement. That's forward movement.
But obviously, we're struggling a little bit at right tackle there, to put it lightly.
The funniest thing is the Chiefs are going to get a conditional draft pick.
No. No, they're not.
He's already started enough games. Yeah, he's
unless we cut him, right? That could still happen.
Oh,
We
man.
don't know. Anyway, I think Stevenson. I also read he ranks dead last among 78 qualifying NFL tackles in both
Oh my God.
overall and pass blocking grades for the whole season.
He's
Wow.
a double agent. We sent him there to sabotage your operation. He just drags a whole team down.
Yeah, I don't know how he's still playing. Honestly,
I think Simeon took his girlfriend, so he's just trying to get payback.
What?
it's got to be something. The sad thing is, at one point we were blaming our deficiencies on the fact that he was injured, but then when he got back in, things
It got
improved.
worse.
But it had things improved, but it had nothing to do with him.
We tried to warn you.
God. Anyway, that's obviously going to be a position of interest in the offseason. But Matt Paradis, on the other hand, held his own. He was one of the best. He's still one of the best centers for the whole season so far. So he had the highest offensive grade on our team from Pro Football Focus, and then next was DT, Demaryius Thomas. So we had some good things happening on offense, and we were running the ball a little bit better than we were the week before against the Raiders, which doesn't say a lot. But
So you got more than 33 yards.
yeah, that's an improvement. I mean, I can put that in the pros column. But the bad thing is that we still don't have CJ Anderson, and Capri Bibbs and Devontae Booker didn't break a single tackle, I don't think, the entire game, is what I read. So we can run the ball as long as no one's trying to tackle us. So as long as...
So just play
Matt
the
Paradis
Jets and the Eagles, and you'll be good.
yeah. Yeah. If things go our way, maybe we can win the game. But that's not a good way to play football. But we will see how things go from here on out. At least everyone else on the line is doing pretty good. Schofield, actually, even though he doesn't have the best name among Broncos fans or, other
Anyone.
teams, anyone, yeah. He had a really great game as well. He was right behind Demaryius Thomas as the third highest rated from Pro Football Focus. And then Okun brought up third, and a new name on our team, AJ Derby, was fifth, I guess. Okun was fourth. So AJ Derby, the new addition we got from New England, tight end, had a good game as well. So I'm excited about him, especially with Virgil Green. He hasn't been great in the passing game. He had some good catches in this game. One specific one that was for a first down that without that we would have lost momentum and we wouldn't have ended up in the end zone. But on our first drive in this game, getting back to the game, we scored a touchdown instead of having a 3-and-out like we did against the Raiders. And shortly thereafter, we intercepted Drew Brees 2 times. Darian Stewart, having the game of his life, had 3 turnovers. And from what I had read, his family drove down from Alabama because he's from Alabama. And he knew that they were going to be there, and he prepared for this game like it was going to be the best game of his career. He said that before the game. So he knew that this was going to be an important game, and he prepared well, and he played well. And we've had multiple players this season get the AFC Defensive Player of the Week award, and I think he's going to be pretty high on the list for... I don't know if they've chosen this week yet, but I think he's going to be pretty high on the list for the people that they're choosing between. Because 3 turnovers, he's the second... he's got the second most in Broncos history, behind Delta O'Neal back in 2001, who had 4 interceptions in a game.
That is a blast from the past, Delta O'Neal.
Right?
That's the name I haven't heard in a while.
He had 3 seasons with us, and one of them was decent. But,
I feel like
anyway,
I remember him. It's fine. No, it's fine.
Go ahead. What do you remember?
I feel like I remembered him more as another play. I feel like I remember him more as a Lion than as a Bronco. But that's completely.
Yeah, he was only with us for a few seasons.
Yeah,
and he had one good one, and he was injured for most of the other 2, I think.
Yeah,
he didn't do much, but he set some records and got out. And I remember him as a kid. I remember really being into Delta O'Neal playing NFL 2K, or maybe it was 2K2. I remember he was one of my favorite players. But anyway, Darian Stewart had a great game. He would have had 3 interceptions, but one of them actually turned out to be a fumble recovery, which it was kind of hard to see because the Saints player caught it and then he just basically took it out of the Saints player's hands, and it was he was assisted by Bradley Roby, who kind of punched it out from behind. It was kind of hard to see what happened, but each week we seem to have at least one defensive player who is playing at the top of his game, and that's what's carrying us right now. And really, it's been carrying us for the last 2 seasons. But overall, with the defense playing well, we had 6 sacks, and the offense was playing well enough to score. With Jordan Taylor getting his first touchdown of his career. I talked about him early in the season. He had a really great preseason, and it was great to see him score. And with the O-line playing well, except for right tackle, we were able to run the ball a little better, like I said. And our third down efficiency went up. I've talked about that all year long, too. We were 11 for 19 instead of 3 for 19, like we've been most weeks. And we won the turnover battle again. Obviously, Darian Stewart had his hand in there, but there were 2 fumbles from the Saints and 2 interceptions from Breeze. And we won the time of possession and turnover battles. I think we had the ball for 40 minutes. Well, last week we had it for 20. So it flip-flopped a little bit there. And that has to all be because of running the ball. I mean, that's what we need to do to control the clock. And I don't know what the Raiders were able to do to prevent us from doing that. Because I don't think you guys have that much better of a defense than the Saints. Maybe you can.
I think everybody has that much better of a defense.
Yeah, they do.
We've been struggling early in the year, but the Saints, come on, man.
Well, okay, I'll give it to you. I was gonna say your secondary is better, but I don't know about your run defense. Do you think
Our run defense is actually probably the strength of our defense.
Really? You think so? Okay.
Our pass defense has always been worse than the run defense.
Okay.
The pass defense kind of surged a little higher when Max started getting to the quarterback, but I still think the run defense is pretty good. Now, when teams can pass easily and then they're all trying to combat the pass, then teams go with the draws and those kill us. But other than that,
okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of. But anyway, we near the end, it was pretty close most of the game, and near the end we were able to, after the Saints came back and scored, and it looked like they were going to go up on us by 1 point, we were able to block the extra point and run it back with a controversial, barely stayed in bounds run for a 2-point score that won the game. And I still believe that we did not step out of bounds, but the entire NFL subreddit will argue with me about that.
yeah, I think he stepped up, but honestly, who fucking cares at this point?
Yeah, the game's over.
Game over. You
know. Also, like, of course you think he didn't step out of bounds. You're a Broncos fan.
Well,
let's be honest here.
True, but if you go back and you look at it, there's no angle, there's no
yeah, it's not clear.
Really proves that.
Yeah, it's definitely not clear, but I'm just like looking at it, it kind of looks like he stepped out.
And then,
but like, there's no indisputable evidence. There's nothing that the ref can say like he's definitely stepped out. This is a dead ball.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
on the threads on the NFL subreddit, it was like exactly 50-50. Like people who thought he stepped out versus stepped in, which means the officials probably made the right call in that there was not enough evidence to overturn the call.
Yeah.
So.
And like somebody said on there, every team is going to be considering white shoes for the rest of their the rest of the year to hopefully have the same thing go right for them, because it really was the color of his shoe really blended in, and it was hard to tell if he was on the white or what. But
and I mean, maybe this is
either
just,
way.
Yeah, and maybe this is just like my opinions of how these ref things go, because a lot of times Charger fans like to complain that calls don't go our way, and first of all, it's every fan base, but even still, like, the way it works to me is just like, no matter how the ref's gonna call it, that's the hand you're dealt with at the end of the day. So like, either you deal with it or you don't. Like, so regardless of what happens, if you got blasted by a call that wasn't fair or whatever, then just play on and make it so that it doesn't matter. That's all I can say about it. Like, so the Broncos won by whatever fluke play you want to call it. Like, they made the play. And the ref said it wasn't, conclusive evidence. That's it.
Yeah, and even if they had gotten the extra point or another chance at it,
yeah, they had time.
They were able to hit it. Yeah, we would have had time. There was a minute and a half left. We would have had time to come back and have a chance at it. We would have just had to get in field goal position. And in that dome, Brandon McManus was kicking them pretty far, so I think we would have had a pretty good chance.
And that goes for the Saints as well. Like, you got the 2-point thing off the block. If New Orleans can spend that minute and a half to get down to field goal range and kick a field goal, then there you go. This isn't a problem. They win the game. That's it. So you can't blame it at the end.
Shouldn't have put himself in that position in the first place, right? If they wanted to win the game.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, but that's about all I have to say.
All right, well, Denver, that win improves them to 7-3, a half game back from the Chiefs, who are in first place. I know, we took the lead from the Oakland Raiders because we own the tiebreaker.
Have you guys looked at the power rankings for the NFL?
I haven't. No,
yep, I have.
Yeah, I think we're all top 6.
Really?
We're 4, 5, we're 4, 5, and 6.
Shocking.
Yeah, except for the Chargers.
Shocking. I know we're 19. That's all I remember.
Well, right now in the playoff standings, the three of us are currently in the playoffs.
Right.
And
How is that possible?
Denver right now is sitting in the 6th seed with 7-3, and Miami's the first team behind the wild card spot, and they're 5-4. So it's a pretty commanding lead right now. 2
games. That's at this point of the season. It's pretty big.
Yeah, so it looks like unless one of us poops the bed, that we're going to be sending 3 teams to the playoffs. The team that's not going to the playoffs, the Chargers, lost to the Dolphins 24-31. Are you dead inside yet?
Yes, I am. I've been telling you guys all of Sunday, just the bye couldn't come at a better time. And Tyler's just telling me, you're going to miss football during the bye. Trust me, I won't. Trust me.
No, it's not that you're going to miss football. You're going to sit there and harp on this loss like it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you.
No, I've been through
Even
worse.
if you won, you'd probably harp on every bad thing about the win that's ever happened. Like it's the worst thing that's ever happened. It's going to drive you insane.
You assume that I don't have a life outside of football. So ignoring that.
Oh, no, it doesn't matter. This will kill that life. You're sitting here on a Tuesday night doing a podcast about football. So don't talk to me about a life outside of football.
Okay, I'll give you that. But trust me, I have a life, believe it or not. Anyway, Chargers 24, Dolphins 31. Freaking magic that caused us to lose the game, just the same way that freaking magic causes the Chiefs and Broncos to win their games. Negatives, because that's how I do it when we lose games. Worst game I think I've seen for Phillip Rivers in a very long time. You can't throw 4 picks. You just can't. You can't throw 4 interceptions and expect to win a game. I don't care who you are. Unless, the other team got 4 picks, you can't do it. And if I'm not mistaken, they all came in the 4th quarter, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, even if they didn't, 4 picks.
One was
picks.
in the, right on the end zone, too.
Yeah, one was in the end zone. So, regardless of what happens, or when they happen, you can't throw 4 picks and win a game. You just can't. So, that's obviously on Phil. We can blame the play calling all we want. I think that's almost a theme for Charger fans, just to blame Mike McCoy, blame the play calling, blame Ken Winston, whatever. That doesn't do me any good, so I'm not going to harp on it at all. And I don't think it's the problem with the play calling, even with this case. But execution was really bad. Execution by Rivers and the passing offense was not good at all. There were several situations where we can just say that Phil and the receivers were not on target or not on page, and that is terribly uncharacteristic of the Chargers receiving corps. I think I can point to a few places where Tyrell Williams did not come back to the ball on 3 occasions. 2 of them were incompletions, and one of them was the game-winning or the game-sealing interception, should I say, from Kiko Alonso. So that's not good. That has to be corrected. The offensive line had a terrible game. I have the stats up for both teams right here. I think Miami, how many sacks did they put on us? That's 2 halves of sack. That's 1, 2, 3. I think 3 sacks that they had on us, and honestly, that doesn't tell the whole story. The pressure that they generated was amazing. That was the pressure that I could only dream of having consistently for our team, and they were doing it almost every play. So, big ups to the Miami, defensive front for doing as well as they did against our offensive line. And Barksdale in particular, as I said, he played injured the whole game, but he did not have a good game. And we can talk about PFF's worst player rankings for this week. I think Barksdale was on that list as well. I don't remember where on the list, but he was there. So he has struggled all season, or at least for the last 5 weeks or so. A good chunk of the season. And he was a big free agent signing for us. Like, he, came to San Diego on a 1-year deal, prove it. Same way Brandon Flowers was like, played very well for us, stabilized their right tackle position, gave him a very fair, lucrative contract, and he has not performed up to it. So I'm not saying to throw the towel on Joe Barksdale. I'm not the kind of guy who throws, the towel in on players so easily, but he needs to pick it up at some point in time. So that's my spiel on the offense. The defense as a whole, the front seven became a weakness pretty much right after Mebane got hurt, I feel. We got little to no pressure in comparison to the Miami front. The Miami defensive front seven was on it all day, and ours just was not. And I don't have the percentages. I don't have the ELO ratings sitting in front of me. I can probably find them maybe when I do the bye week review. But I think with this loss, I said this last week, if we lose this game, if we win this game, we're probably like somewhere in the running for a possible wild card, assuming one of the other AFC West teams blows it. We're still in the running. But now we're at 4-6, and we've lost Mebane and probably Flowers for a considerable amount of time. I think our chances are slim to none at this point. If they weren't slim before, they're slim now. So, thank goodness for the bye week, I suppose, just to get some of our players back and healthy so we can make a spoiler run later in the year. Positives. There's surprisingly a few positives. We did keep the game close, so there's that. Several of the new faces on our defense had some pretty nice games. Actually, a guy I've been talking about all season, Corey Toomer, the free agent, the practice squad pickup from Oakland, has done very well. He had 10 tackles, 1 assist, 1 pass defended, and had a PFF rating of 94.1, which is very high for someone who was literally signed off of a practice squad, a former 5th-round pick as well. So he's having an amazing season for us, and I'm pretty sure he's going to take Manti Te'o's place on that roster pretty soon after the season. I think Manti's gone. And undrafted free agent Trevor Williams, rookie corner from Penn State, if that means anything to Tyler as a Penn Stater.
Means nothing to me anymore.
Oh, man.
He's dead to me.
Oh, man, Tyler, you're so harsh on your own Nittany Lions. You're so harsh on them. Biggest play from Trevor Williams today, made a key pass defense in the end zone, preventing Miami from going up at the end of the game. That forced the game-tying field goal. So that was probably the best play he had in the game. That was well done, I think, by Trevor Williams. And he had a couple of good plays in there as well. So a couple of good plays from a couple of new faces. And that's the nice positives from the defense. We have a few nice building blocks to go around. And other offensive news, even though Philip Rivers threw 4 interceptions, he threw 3 touchdowns. And with those 3 touchdowns, he has now officially passed John Elway for 8th most in career touchdowns with 301. Elway had 300. So Phil is now 8th on that list.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there you go. So Phil is now 8th on that list all time. And by the way, one of those touchdown passes was caught by none other than the old guy, Antonio Gates. He now inches ever closer to Tony Gonzalez's all-time receiving touchdown mark by a tight end. I think he's at 109 now. Let me check. He's 2 away if that's the case. He's 2 away from tying.
He's not going to do it.
Prather's so adamant about that. He's got 6 games to get through.
Prather's like hoping that Gates is the next on the Chargers injury report.
Oh my God.
He's like praying for it.
Just planted for shot.
No. Just Milf Hunter Henry is just going to totally push Gates out of a job.
I mean, Gates is probably done after the season. I think he retires after the season, but not until after his touchdown total goes to past 111. Like, let's be real. 6 touchdowns in 3 games, Gates can do that. Gates can totally do it. So I wouldn't count Gates out of setting that record just yet. I think he's going to
tie it, but he's not going to break it.
He's going to break it.
Nah.
Oh, I hope he ties it and then retires just on the tie.
God, I'd be so salty. I would be so salty. But I think he's going to...
I would be okay with that.
I'd be really salty. I hope he breaks it. I hope he breaks it, and I think he's going to break it.
He's going to break it.
Yeah, see?
Sure.
There you go. Like, come on, we're playing some teams with some bad pass defenses. You just played Carolina.
Unless Rivers literally implodes.
He's on my fantasy team.
You assume
Why would they throw the ball to Gates when they can get 2 yards of carry from Melvin Gordon?
2.8, mind you. 2.8, okay?
Was that let me check that stat again. Was that the yards per carry he was getting? All I know is he got 70 yards on the ground. That's all I know. Was it 2.8? Oh,
no,
it's close. It's like a little more than that. Let me check. It's a little more than 3.
So close.
That's about as good as our entire offense did last week. So.
It's 2.9 actually. It's 2.9.
So close.
Oh man.
Well, then you beat the Broncos.
On a side note, with that performance from Phillip Rivers, guess who he is tied with in interceptions this season?
Magic. Who knows? I don't know who.
Blake Bortles.
No. Oh, that hurts.
They both have 11.
That hurts.
I got a good stat.
Go for it.
Trevor Siemian beat Phillip Rivers in every stat category this week. So I'm going to go ahead and say that Siemian is better than Phillip Rivers.
Okay. All right, Chris. Did you have alcohol recently, Chris?
Oh, that's not relevant.
All right, well, that's all I can say for now. That Phil passed.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm done.
Well, with Week 10 behind us, let's preview Week 11. First game, Bucks at Chiefs, Sunday early game. The Bucks are terrible, and we're gonna win. I really don't have any analysis for this game. Exactly. Jameis Winston has thrown 10 interceptions, so he's right behind the Bortles and Rivers tier there.
Do you know if Jaquiz on your face is going to play?
I don't know, but Doug Martin's back, so...
Ooh, spoiler!
Yeah, there we go. I'm starting Doug Martin.
We had trouble stopping Chris Ivory 2 weeks ago and TJ Yeldon. So Doug Martin scares me a little bit, but I think Jameis will screw it up by throwing some picks. So really not too worried. And their defense is horrible, so
what about Mike Evans? What's your prediction?
Alex Smith looks good.
What's your prediction, though?
It's at home. I think we're going to keep it relatively low scoring. Cairo Santos has a 6 field goal performance.
Jesus Christ.
As we take it 18 to 10.
What the heck? That's the first time I think I've heard Prather even say 6 field goals, and he has a hard-on for Cairo Santos. That's saying something. That is saying something. Okay. Let's get to the other predictions before Prather talks more about Cairo Santos to us. All right.
Who do you want to take it? Go ahead, Chris. Is that you, someone?
Sure, I'll go first. Yeah, I'm calling the Chiefs to win this one as well. Like Prather said, it's a home game. Tampa Bay does not have a lot of positive things going for them. Doug Martin is back, which is great because now I have a bye week filler for my fantasy team. But yeah, if that's going to be the biggest factor if Doug Martin goes off against the Chiefs, and I don't think he's going to go off that much. So I mean, if they key in on the pass and they get Jameis to start throwing picks, they're going to focus on the run defense, and Dontari Poe and company will definitely have an impact on the run game for Tampa Bay. So I'm calling the Chiefs to win this game, and it should not be nearly as close as the Buccaneers or as the Panthers game was. I'm calling Chiefs 24 because I don't trust their offense that much, and the Buccaneers 13.
You trust them enough for 24?
Yeah.
Well, our defense. If we score 24, our defense is going to score a touchdown.
Yeah, come on. Like Marcus Peters can do a thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, Marcus Peters can do a thing. So yeah, 24-13 Chiefs.
All right, Tyler.
All right. Well, I'm going spoiler. I already told you this. I think Mighty Mouse does go off.
Hey.
And he eats the Chiefs alive. And I think Jameis Winston does his best Alex Smith impression by just playing game manager. I do think the Chiefs defense scores some points. But I'm going to go 26-14, and the Chiefs offense does not score anything.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's somehow possible.
14 points off of defense and special teams.
That is completely possible. Give it the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dang.
And my fantasy team hopes that Tyler is correct because I have Doug Martin in my roster and he needs to go off.
I don't think Jameis is capable of being a game manager. He's gonna try to put the team on his back.
I mean, if Mighty Mouse already has the team on his back, who's gonna put the team on his back?
Jameis Winston and Mike Evans. They could be in a kill the clock scenario, like they're up by 3 and they have the ball with 2 minutes left, and Jameis is gonna force feed the ball to Mike Evans.
Oh yeah, that's my.
I can see that happening, but I'm just gonna go for Team Chaos in this one.
You just hope that Dirk Cutter calls a play that isn't totally stupid.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he's not Mike McCoy.
I don't have a lot.
Okay, hey.
He's
seriously, I know we like to give flack to Mike McCoy, but he's really not as bad as people make him out to be. Let me start with that.
I mean, people make him out to be literally Hitler, so of course he's not as bad.
That's because the Chargers fan base is literally very fickle at points. So I don't trust the mob mentality of our fan base, and I'm going to call all of our fans out for that. I don't trust some of your mentality. I really don't.
Well, I'm petitioning for Norv Turner for the Chargers.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Oh yeah, wow.
What would you do? What would you do if that happened?
I would laugh maniacally. I would lose my mind.
All right, Chris, what's your prediction?
Anyway, yeah, my prediction is that the Buccaneers will win. And I think it's going to be close. I think you're going to have one of those games where, you guys, the Chiefs need to bring it back at the end, and this time there won't be a miracle like you have been getting, or you got this last week. Because you can only get so many of those, And it'll probably be pretty low scoring. I'm going to say 24-14.
Can we speak to this league and the fact that 24-14 is low scoring now?
Yeah.
That's pretty well.
I mean, it's not like the Big 12.
We just had a 9-6 game this past week.
True.
You guys think 24-14 is low scoring?
In terms of the Bucks,
yeah, but we don't have Jeff Fisher in our division, so we don't have those types of games, and we don't have Tim Tebow anymore either.
True. He's doing.
Man.
How is he? No, go
that
for
game
it.
That was 6-3 Broncos against the Chiefs.
That was a Week 17 game
with Tebow. Yeah, and he completed 2 passes the whole game and ended up winning.
Oh,
that was the worst game of football I've ever seen.
See, my recollection of that week was playing spoiler to the Raiders, and that made me happy.
The Bucks won 36-10 last week, and then they lost 43-28 the week before. So they've kind of been in crazy high-scoring games lately. So it's low scoring for them.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Doug Martin, Mike Evans, they're gonna do some crazy stuff, and Jameis Winston, like he did last week, is gonna come out doing those crazy Madden video game invasions, and it's gonna be fun to watch, except for when the Chiefs have the ball.
Can confirm we're not a fun offense to watch. All right. Well, the second game, there's only 2 games to go over this week because both the Broncos and Chargers are on bye, which means the Raiders are playing, and they are playing in prime time Monday night against
Viva
the
los
Texans
Raiders!
in Mexico City. So, Tyler, can your players handle the smog?
Hey man, we play in California. Is that even a question?
Okay, no. They play in Oakland. Oakland doesn't have smog. LA has smog.
Hey, they used to play in LA. Don't question me.
You live in San Diego. I can question your knowledge of LA all I can. You can shut up about that.
Hey. You'll be questioning LA when the Chargers move there next year. All you
want.
But for right now,
big words from the team that's going
to Las
moving to Vegas. Oh yeah. But I put in our group notes for this because I mean just kind of I have the same feeling that Prather has right now. The Texans kind of suck. They're 6-3, but they kind of suck. I
can't wait for the Titans to take that division. I really can't.
I really want the Titans to take that division just because I want Marcus Mariota to win it, but that's off topic. I have a pretty good feeling about this game. Honestly, better than I've had for most of the season, mainly because just like the Denver game, everything kind of seems to be lining up for us in this matchup. I mean, like, we do well on the road. The Texans are pretty terrible away from home. We're getting prime time. The Texans aren't. And we get to see the most exciting ass whooping of 2015, part 2. Khalil Mack versus the Lobster Boy. Okay, now.
Oh, my God.
Osweiler has arguably gotten worse than last year. And he's waiting behind a pretty banged-up offensive line that's leading a pass attack that has really underperformed. He's facing a heavily improving defense that's well-rested and has had 2 weeks to prepare for them. Things would be looking better for Osweiler if he was in a Golden Corral during their seafood special.
Jesus.
Honestly, on the other side of the ball is where you see the good matchup for the Texans. Their defense is pretty good. Their strength is their pass defense, which plays well against our offense, except that they're not Denver and they probably won't shut anyone down. But their weakness is their run defense. They're missing Vince Wilfork, and that leaves kind of a bullseye in the middle of their defense for the Raiders' offensive line to exploit. So, I mean, look for Latavius Murray to kind of run often and successfully. When it comes to the pass defense, going back to that, the defense backfield is highlighted by Kareem Jackson and Jonathan Joseph. Two older corners, still playing at a pretty high level. And if I'm betting on who will be the receiving star against the two, I would probably put my money on Cooper. His fast-cutting playing style works better against these technician-style corners. And the high altitude may open up the deep ball, which more favors Coop's game than Crabtree's, even though Crabtree has caught a couple deep ones. Their pass rush highlighted by Jadeveon Clowney, who the Texans picked over Mack, and Whitney Merciless. They are missing J.J. Watt, as everybody and their mother knows. Merciless is playing at a very high level. Clowney's pretty damn good. He's kind of turning it on, but, you know, he has his off weeks. But against this offensive line, I don't really expect much from them. Maybe some impact at the beginning of the game, kind of like we saw from Miller in Week 9. Now, on offense, the Texans are struggling a lot. Lobster Boy could only muster 99 yards against a weak Jaguars team. DeAndre Hopkins was making terrible quarterbacks look mediocre last year and is looking mediocre because of a terrible quarterback this year. The only threat on this offense that is posed to our defense is since the so-called offensive guru, Bill O'Brien, I'm still salty about him saying he was going to stay at Penn State and then skirting off to the NFL as soon as Houston opened up its legs, is their running game. Now, this is not a great rushing attack, but Lamar Miller is a pretty good back. They rely on the run a lot because Lobster Boy can't get his claws in order. And if we shut down the run like we were able to against the Broncos, expect this to be over before the whistle blows. Finally, fun little fact. In his 2 previous years in the league, after a bye, Carr has a combined 571 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He's done pretty well so far, and we'll see if this continues. That's all I have. I'm taking the Raiders in a landslide. I think the Texans kind of, continue their trend of crap in the bed in prime time. And this one goes 35-10 Raiders.
Ooh.
Well, you mentioned the altitude briefly, and I
just don't think it's as much as a factor that people really say.
Well, a lot of people know that in Denver, the kickers enjoy it because they can kick really far. Well, Mexico City is an additional 2,000 feet higher than the Mile High City, so I'm expecting a 75-yard field goal from Sebastian Janikowski.
If we're up by a crap ton, I hope they let him do it. I really need them to let him do that.
And that's going to propel the Raiders to a 3-0 victory.
Hey, really?
Now that's the prediction we've all been waiting for. That's the prediction of the season. I don't care what y'all say.
I can't even argue with that.
That's ridiculous.
The greatest matchup of our time. Freaking Seabass nails a 75-yarder. That's the only point of the game. We get a 30 for 30 on this later.
Honestly, first ballot Hall of Famer if that happens.
No, 75 yards? Yeah, no shit. There'll be a 30 for 30 on that game. Just watch. Oh my
All right,
god.
I'm gonna quickly say what I think. I think it's gonna be a tie
Jesus Christ, dude.
because I don't really want either of these people to win. And
You don't want your precious lobster to win a game?
oh god, no, not that traitor.
But you benefited from it.
Brent's
you
gonna
did
probably
benefit.
throw like, whatever. He's
Yeah,
probably
John
gonna,
Elway was opening up the pocketbook.
Yeah, I was about to give him $16 million a year.
You know, I'm happy we didn't end up with him, but I don't like the way that it happened. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It's like I don't know. It's like a girlfriend who cheated on you and got fat. You still don't like her.
So like Bill O'Brien did to Penn State?
Yeah.
I feel you. I understand you on that one.
Anyway, I think Lobster's gonna throw like 4 interceptions, and then they're gonna put in Savage, and then that's just gonna be even worse. DeAndre
A Tom
Hopkins
Savage
won't catch
sighting.
the balls.
Oh, man.
It's gonna be Savage, and then
Was that
like
pun
Prather said,
intended?
there will be some field goals.
Please tell me that
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh
There'll
man.
be some field goals. They'll be long on both sides. We'll see other Carr for a little while.
Why would we see other car?
Because why
I
not?
just feel like it's time. Mexico.
Other
know,
car
maybe-
definitely never shows up after a bye.
So you think?
Come on.
So you think right before the game, Carr goes out to randomly just downtown DFA and just like gets a few mojitos right before the game.
Drink some really
Yeah.
bad tequila, and the
I think
worm
he's
really
gonna get
gets
a
to
little
him.
woozy. He's gonna get a little
Oh, man.
altitude sickness. Maybe be a little woozy.
Oh man.
And yeah, I think it'll be fun to watch for me.
So-
but,
Oh man.
tie. It'll be a tie.
You don't have a score for this tie?
Yeah, what's the score for the tie?
Oh, 6-6.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Field goals all
Yeah.
aplenty, 6-6.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's 4 field goals.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or 6 safeties. I want to see a match where just the game is decided by safety. I'm pretty sure it's happened in like 1930.
There has been. Crap. I know this one. Shit.
Oh man. All right. Well, as you think of that, my prediction. I'm gonna actually make a real prediction, believe it or not. Because I'm too
Are
demoralized.
you calling our predictions not real?
Yes.
3-0 and 6-6. I mean, let's be. Okay.
I put a lot of time into that.
After, with one of the top scoring offenses in the game. Come on, man.
6-6. All right. Well, that's the higher scoring one. But my
Regression.
more realistic prediction.
It's the altitude. Some of your players are going to get kidnapped. It's the whole ordeal.
All right. Well.
Okay. Week 9 of crap. What year was this? The Dolphins sacked Andy Dalton for a safety and ended the game.
Oh, is that how the game ended? Was that the only score though?
That's Cameron Wake. It was a safe. No, it wasn't the only score, but it was a safety to literally end the game.
Oh yeah. I think I've heard of that. Okay. But it wasn't a 2-0 game. Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, that's not what I was asking. That's what I was asking for, not a walk-off safety. But either way, we can argue like which year, like which game in 1930 that happened in. But
Okay, there was a game in 1993 that was the Jets versus the Redskins that ended 3-0.
are you serious?
3-0.
Jeez. Given it's the early Jets, the early 90s Jets and the early 90s Redskins, I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
This is like the end of the Redskins halcyon days, and this is the Jets starting to suck. So I can see that.
It was Monday Night Football too.
That's amazing. That has to be the best Monday night game on record.
The ratings are probably higher than this season.
They probably are. All right, so if I can get to my prediction at some point, I'm going to make a more realistic prediction and say that the Raiders do win this game, although I hope the Texans and Whitney Merciless, my closet hero, attempt to, I don't know. I just see the Raiders winning this game. The Raiders are a better team in general. The matchups, for the most part, favor them. I'm calling it a Raiders victory. I'm going to say it's 21, because I don't think the Texans are going to let them off that easy. 21-14. I do think the Texans score 14 somehow.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Our defense is liable to let someone do that.
Yeah, so I say 21-14 Raiders. Yeah, I think that's the matchup we're going to get in Mexico City.
As long as the Raiders keep Sean Smith away from Will Fuller, they might be okay.
Yeah.
You mean put Sean Smith on DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah,
Basically.
like a good matchup.
Basically,
You think so?
Yeah, DeAndre Hopkins isn't fast. I mean, that's what
he's
fast enough to burn Sean Smith.
He's not as fast as Will Fuller though. So
no, definitely not.
So in a take of better options, I mean, it's either get burned like 90% of the time or get burned 60% of the time. So, you'll take your chances with the 60%, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See? Tacit approval. All right. I've got a few notes if I can get to these quickly for our bye week. I don't know if Chris is going to say anything. I don't think he's going to because he doesn't have to. But for our bye, I mean, we've had a lot of players, as you can imagine, a lot of our players were injured and have been out for several weeks during the bye. So we had 3 wide receivers as scratches for the game against Miami. We have 7 wide receivers on our active roster. Actually, for all of you listening to us, you should seriously take a look at our depth chart. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me anymore. It really doesn't. We have like 2 running backs, a fullback, 4 tight ends, and 7 wide receivers. I don't get it anymore. So if we can get some of the dead people back, that'd be great. So Travis Benjamin was hurt. Jatavis Brown and Denzel Perryman are 2 starting inside linebackers. Well, Jatavis Brown is kind of a starting inside linebacker, but you get the idea. All 3 of them should come back after the bye. If we can get non-IR injured players back, IR week has been a success. That's what our bye week is called, IR week. And as I've already said earlier, our team will likely be making transactions to offset these injuries. So my prediction is for Steve Williams, who we waived a couple of days ago, right before the Miami game, honestly. I'm expecting him to come back. So we'll see what happens during the next podcast when I talk about our bye week post wrap-up. And if I can throw in a quick rest of season analysis for the San Diego Chargers, as our magical 4-6 season is approaching its end, mercifully. I mean, it's going to be hard for us to compete the rest of the 6 games. We've already lost too many players. Mebane was the biggest one by far, and I mean, debatable, of course, but to me, he's the biggest one, and I don't see how we remain terribly strongly competitive, although our schedule for the rest of the way is really weak, beyond the Chiefs and the Raiders. So, an optimistic prediction, and this is if everything goes right, I'm calling the rest of our 6 games. We're going 4-2. We'll finish 8-8 and last in the division, and we'll probably get somewhere. We'll have somewhere in the middle of the draft order because we'll go 8-8 and we won't pick like number 7 or something. And that would be really encouraging for next season, believe it or not, because if our team is dead and we finish 8-8, that'd be awesome if we can make it through next season alive.
I mean, you'll miss out on Jabril Peppers.
Probably. If we don't, I mean, and it's still possible for us to lose a bunch more games. When I wrote the offseason review for the Chargers on the subreddit, my prediction, the low end of my win range was 7 wins, and that was not off of injuries. That was more just execution. But even regardless, 7 wins is about as low as I really see us going, and that's us going 3-3 the rest of the way. Which, with a weak schedule, like with teams like Carolina and Cleveland on our schedule, I think we can do it. I think we can at least win 3 games out of the next 6. So if we finish 7-9, we're probably still in play for Jabril Peppers. Even if not.
Oh my God, that San Diego Cleveland game, you just got me so hyped. That could be Cleveland's first win. Oh my God, guys.
If our team is literally that dead going into the...
I think that's a stretch.
It's a stretch, but if our team is that dead...
I don't know.
No, I think...
The Chargers like to play down.
We've played down against Cleveland last year. I know that. We played down to Cleveland last year, but if this team is that dead, Cleveland could walk away with it, but I really don't see it happening. Either way, like, we have a good chance with our week's remaining schedule to go 3-3, 4-2. And if that's the case, then we finish with 7 or 8 wins. And given the amount of deaths that we've had on our roster, I want to honestly count the amount of players we have on IR right now.
I think there's at least 2 divisions that the Chargers would be in the running for the lead right now.
Yes.
So.
And in this division, we're 3 games out of first. We're 3 games out of, like, third, actually.
It's just too bad you're not in, like, the NFC North.
Right.
Or...
We'd be slaughtering those people.
Or the AFC North.
Or the AFC North. Jeez.
Or the AFC South.
Or the AFC South. I mean, we'd be right in the running for those other divisions, but, good team that just can't catch a break, can't give themselves a break, and in a very strong division, that's what happens. I mean, we've seen 11-5 teams that haven't made the playoffs. We've seen the Brady-less Patriots back in 2008. They went 11-5 and didn't make the playoffs off of a tiebreaker.
I mean, the Lions are in the lead in their division.
I mean, well, comeback Lions. Either way, I mean, this is just my rant of how good we could be the rest of the way through, and I'm sure some of us kind of want to hear what the Chargers might do if we go, 7-9, 8-8, or if we go 4-12, or if we go win out by honest magic. If we go 10-6, I don't think it's going to happen, obviously, but there is probably some honest speculation to see what happens, because I don't think any of the three teams in the other division, I don't think the Raiders, Broncos, or Chiefs will tank. I think these three teams are in such strong positions now and have such solid strengths to begin with that no matter what they do, I don't think they can actually lose games and lose them on a consistent basis enough to knock them out of playoff contention.
Here's my take on it. I think the Lions, without Matthew Stafford, would be the Browns.
Yes.
I've heard this before. They would be the Browns.
Probably.
And the Chargers, without Phillip Rivers, would be the Texans.
That would...
I think that's maybe.
If our defense
Bosa's not quite Watt, but
no,
someday.
I mean, it could be. I mean, if we draft more defense and fix people are already claiming mock drafts because that's what we do at week 10, and people are having us draft. If we draft Jabril Peppers, or if we draft, I think the hot name for the Chargers right now is Cam Robinson, offensive tackle from Alabama. If we draft something or someone, and then free agency becomes a thing. So there's a lot of ways that Chargers can go. We could theoretically be a Texans team in the next 4 or 5 years where the defense gets built up a ton because we have first-rounders all over the place, and our offense becomes a run-style offense. There's a legitimate possibility we turn into not even a Texans thing, more like a Rex Ryan New York Jets thing, like early Rex Ryan New York Jets, where they were going to the AFC Championship game every year. Maybe. We'll see if we draft a quarterback or sign one. But Phil's got 4 years on an extension, so, I mean, I'm not worried about him leaving anytime soon.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, Chris, what are you expecting out of your bye week?
I think we're gonna win.
All right.
I think it might be tough, but Simeon, he's been playing pretty good against pretty good defenses. And...
I'm gonna call it a loss here because right now Denver Bronco fans have to decide between whether or not they're gonna watch their bye or look up Joe Biden Barack Obama memes on Facebook. I think those Biden Obama memes are gonna really put the internet memedom over the top over the Denver Broncos in the bye week.
I think they're all just gonna pray for Raiders and Chief losses.
That too.
Hey, you never pray for a win or loss. You pray for the opponent to win. That's bad luck, bad juju, man.
Oh man.
Well,
I mean,
we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for this week. Join us again next week where y'all can applaud me for my correct 3-0.
75-yard field goal prediction.
Yeah, Raiders versus Texans prediction, because that one's definitely coming true. You heard it here first.
You will get a free MS Paint drawing if that comes true.
All right, I will hold that. I will hold you to that one.
It is on the podcast. You can hold me to it.
All righty. See everybody next week.